Hello, and welcome to Arcade Gadfly, a Gadfly City show. Tonight's game of trivia will feature some of the coolest scary movies to come out of Hollywood in decades. Of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube for some more games and great content. Let's get to the instructions for tonight and see how to play tonight's game. Purchase a subscription on Substack to get all the answer sheets. You only need to fill out one answer sheet per round, but you have to fill out all 4 answer sheets for your scores to count. This is the honor system, folks. No cheating, no looking up answers. Keep it to only the things inside your brain, however many you have up there. All points are displayed on the leaderboard on our Discord community, so check it out there. Winner gets a prize. Send any questions to info@gadflycity.com. So let's get to the game. First round. Every round tonight will feature a classic and iconic scary movie. Tonight's segment number 1 features the movie Saw. If you haven't seen it, or if you have, let's get to question number 1. What part of the house does most of the movie take place in? In the movie Saw, for 1 point, what part of the house does most of the movie take place in? This movie came out in 2004, actually. It's not exactly your typical movie about a bunch of kids traveling to Europe in between high school and college. Filmed in just 18 days across Europe on a budget of only $1.2 million. It ended up grossing over $103 million worldwide. Only 30 seconds left to get your answers in. If you haven't already, get to it. The movie features a bunch of kids who wake up chained in a filthy, dilapidated part of an unknown house. As victims of the villain, they are forced to play a game of deadly survival. Of course, this game is not that deadly, but it is kind of scary. On to the second question tonight in the Saw round for 2 points. What was the name of the villain in the movie Saw? For just 2 points, what was the name of the villain in the movie Saw? Actually, in the first weekend this movie came out, it made $20 million. The 2 directors in the film, James Wayne and Lee Winnelli, took actually nothing up front in terms of salary. They bet on the movie so much, they took nothing up front. Nearly 30 seconds left for this question. If you haven't already answered it, please do. The directors even made a short 7 or 10 minute film to try and get their movie made, and thank God it did. So all of our dreams could be haunted by the nightmares that they made out of this movie. Only about 10 seconds left for this question. And 3, 2, 1. Hope you knew that one. Let's get to the next question, even if you didn't. Question number 3 in round number 1 about the movie Saw. How many movies does the Saw franchise have in total? For 3 points, how many movies does the Saw franchise have in total? It's so interesting that in this movie that one of the directors actually played a character. This isn't like some Hitchcockian thing where he's only on there for a second or two. It's a legit character. About 30 seconds left, folks. This, contrary to popular belief, the main scene where most of this movie was shot in was an abandoned building just outside Los Angeles to accommodate all the bizarre lighting and filming needs. And a lot of the office scenes were shot in the director's own office. so I can't imagine how scared he was going back in there after shooting a bunch of crazy scenes there. About 5 seconds left to answer this question. And let's move on to the next one. Fourth question and first round. What was the name of the villain's puppet? For 4 points for the movie Saw, what was the name of the villain's puppet? And no, this is not a creepy joke. Puppet is actually in the movie. What's really crazy about the scary main scene of this film is that the villain actually laid on the ground during nearly all of the shooting for those scenes. And he only got up to stretch during breaks, but he did commit to his craft and the role and stayed there while the other actors were frantically acting during these scary scenes. About 20 seconds left to get your answers in for the fourth question, the first round. Okay, just about 5 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, folks, last question in the first round, all about the movie Saw. 7 points. What movie inspired the shocking ending where the corpse stands up? For 7 points for the movie Saw. What movie inspired the shocking ending where the corpse stands up? 60 seconds, get to it. If you don't know, during the scene where Amanda had to sift through a man's intestines to find a key, those were actual real intestines. They got them from a pig and used them to sort of cut down on CGI. In fact, many of the other scenes in this movie were shot using practical effects rather than animated CGI, including the mere translation in one of the later Saw films. About 30 seconds left, everyone. A lot of the directors were hesitant and quite often just refused to use CGI, so we get blood, intestines from actual things. And later on, the franchise even started a blood drive, a Give Till It Hurts blood drive, which began in 2004 and has seen over 100,000 pints donated. So that's a pretty good thing to come out of a very, very scary thing. And that wraps up the first round, folks. Hope you did well. We'll find out soon if you did or didn't. We're going to take a short break. And hello, welcome back to Arcade Gadfly. Tonight's game features 3 or 4 great scary movies, and the first one from the first round was Saw. Let's go over the answers from that round. First question was, what part of the house does most of the movie take place in? For 1 point, that was the bathroom. For 2 points, question number 2 asked you, what was the name of the villain? That was Jigsaw. Third question was, how many movies does the Saw franchise have in total? They got 10 movies. What was the name of the villain's puppet in the movie Saw? It was Billy. It wasn't me, though. And finally, what movie inspired the shocking ending where the corpse stands up? That was the movie Seven. And now let's go to the second round of tonight. It features a cult movie that turned out to be much larger. It was American Psycho. If you haven't seen it, let's learn a little about it right now. First question in the second round of tonight's game featuring American Psycho is, this movie was adapted from what book? A book written by what author? For 2 points, what is the name of the author that wrote the book that this is based on? 2 points, 60 seconds. Get to it. The book American Psycho is a satirical horror thriller, actually, focusing on Patrick Bateman, a wealthy 1980s Wall Street investment banker who hides his narcissistic, kind of sociopathic nature behind a polished facade. By day, he navigates a shallow, conformist, materialistic world. By night, he indulges in gruesome, often imagined acts of violence, trying to critique consumerism and yuppie culture of the 1980s. But we see a lot of that around the 90s and 2000s right now. It's not your typical rom-com as you might expect. It's a social critique that mocks the extreme excess of 1980s corporate elite. But sometimes that holds true all throughout the years. 10 seconds left to answer this question, folks, before we fly on to the next one. Second question is, in the second round, all about the movie American Psycho. The studio originally wanted what actor to play the lead role instead of Christian Bale? The studio originally wanted what actor to play the lead role instead of Christian Bale? For 3 points, you got 60 seconds to answer it. And I hope you're doing better in this round than you were in the other. From the point total, I'm not so sure. Christian Bale portrayed his character to be kind of like Tom Cruise, whom he saw on an interview on The Late Show with David Letterman. And he used Cruise's extraordinary intense friendliness, but absence with anything in his eyes to draw out and build a character for this movie. He spoke in an American accent throughout the whole production, but that's not his native tongue. He did it so well, though, and so often that many of the crew actually thought he was American. 10 seconds left for the second question, the second round, all about American Psycho. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go on to the third question, the second round. What type of power tool does the main character run around wielding without any clothes on in the movie American Psycho? What type of power tool does the main character run around wielding without any clothes on? For 4 points, 60 seconds. While this movie started out kind of in cult circles, it eventually blossomed with only a budget of $7 million. It ended up grossing over $34 million worldwide, which in any industry is a pretty good ROI. Later on, Broadway came calling and even made a musical adaptation of American Psycho, believe it or not. It had a short run at the Gerald Schoenfeld Theater. Almost 80,000 people came out to see various actors dance and sing to this dark, violent comedy. And it ran for over 50 shows. You got 10 seconds, folks. What power tool was it that he wielded? All right, that about wraps it up for the third question this round. For the fourth one, whose music is prominently featured in this movie, as well as Back to the Future? For 5 points, whose music is prominently featured in this movie, as well as Back to the Future? 5 points, 60 seconds. Christian Bale claimed to do over 1,000 crunches every morning, just like the character in the story. Set in 1987, the movie was actually taking place about 2 years before the setting in the book. And there's a lot of mistakes all throughout the story as characters misunderstand who they're talking to or downright forget who is involved in the scene, as a nod to the social critique of the superficial culture that it's set in. About 15 seconds left, folks. Get your answers in. A famous business card scene in American Psycho shows a tragic misspelling of acquisitions versus acquisitions without a T. It's kind of hard to miss, though, if you really watch the scene. All right, last question, folks, in the second round of All About American Psycho. What is the real name of the person that the main character kills in this movie? For 8 points, what's the real name of the person that the main character kills in this movie? And Bale playing the main character, worked out 3 days or 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. Even got his teeth capped to try and look more and more like that typical Wall Street banker from the excessive 1980s. Turned out all right, I think. He based his character on Nicolas Cage's role in The Vampire's Kiss. If you haven't seen that, that's equally dark. The second movie of this franchise went directly to video. It starred Mila Kunis. So I guess she was a long way from that 70s show when she decided to take a part in that film. About 10 seconds left, folks. Answer the last question of the second round. Hope you know it. If you don't, there will be a lot more questions. And that wraps it up for the second round. We'll be back in a bit for another round about another movie. Come back quick, folks. We will too. Welcome back to Arcade Gadfly. And let's go over those questions from the second round from the movie American Psycho. The first question was, this movie was adapted from a book written by what author? That was Bret Easton Ellis. Second question, the studio originally wanted what actor to play the lead role instead of Christian Bale? Leonardo DiCaprio. What type of power tool does the main character run around wielding? That's a chainsaw. Whose music is prominently featured in this movie, as well as Back to the Future? Huey Lewis. And what is the real name of the person that the main character kills in this movie? That's Jared Leto. On to the third round, flies. And this round is all about the movie The Ring. If you haven't seen it, kind of based off of Poltergeist. Question number 1 for 3 points. The protagonist finds a type of film with what 3-letter acronym? For 3 points. The protagonist finds a type of film with what 3-letter acronym? 60 seconds, 3 points, get to it. This movie follows journalist Rachel Keller, who investigates a cursed videotape that kills viewers 7 days after watching it. After her niece dies, Rachel watches the tape herself at a mountain cabin, receiving a 7 days phone call. With a budget of $48 million, it ended up grossing nearly $250. About 30 seconds left, folks. It brought in $120 million additionally across the globe. And on the first weekend it came out, made about 15 million. So that's a pretty good return. I hope you have a good return as well on this question. For 3 points, you have 10 seconds left to answer it. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Second question, third round, about the movie The Ring. This movie is actually a remake of another film from what country? For 4 points, this movie is a remake from another film from what country? 4 points, 60 seconds. And long before this movie premiered, the infamous killer video was actually aired as a late-night TV commercial. It contained no branding or mention of the movie for nearly a month, leading viewers to genuinely question what's going on, right? Maybe you think that while you're watching the movie as well. The massive success of The Ring was responsible for a wave of American remakes of horror films throughout the 2000s, including Dark Water and Pulse. Just under 30 seconds for this question, everyone. I hope you're flying over to the answer. The author of the original Ring novel cited the 1982 classic film Poltergeist as one of his primary inspirations for the story and resulting film. Only about 5 seconds left for this question, though. That about does it. Let's fly to the third question in the third round about the movie The Ring. What actor plays the lead character Rachel Keller? For 5 points, what actor plays the lead character Rachel Keller? 5 points, get to it. To maintain a subtle, unsettling atmosphere, the director purposely removed all digital shadows from Samara in certain scenes to make her look more otherworldly and wrong to the human eye. Crafting that perfect sound to get the right uncommon feel for the phone ringing, the director even mixed sounds from a bunch of different telephones to get that perfect sound. He wanted a sound that felt less like a standard Hollywood ring and a lot more jarring. About 25 seconds left. The cursed tape in The Ring is based on the concept of Nensha, the supposed psychic ability to burn images from one's mind onto physical surfaces like film or paper or other things. Truly creepy. Only about 10 seconds left, though, if you're not too creeped out to answer. All right, that about does it. Flying over to the fourth question in the third round. What is the first name of the director of The Ring? For 6 points, what's the name of the director of The Ring? First name only, and only 60 seconds to answer. The famous 7 Days Curse in The Ring was actually inspired by viral anxieties around tech and media, especially 24-hour media, in the late 1990s and early 2000s. I guess they weren't cable news fans. But the disturbing video footage was intentionally edited without a clear narrative to make it more ambiguous and disturbing. The filmmakers wanted to feel like dream logic rather than something viewers could connect the dots with and completely understand right away. The creepy girl Samara was played physically by actress Davey Chase, who also went on to be the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch, released in the very same year, in fact. 5 seconds for this fourth question in the third round. Hope you're writing it down and getting it in, or you're not going to get any points, I promise you. I also promise this is the last question of the third round about the movie The Ring. After the success of The Ring, Hollywood remade several foreign horror films, including what major movie? For 9 points, after the success of The Ring, Hollywood remade several foreign films, including what major movie? The Ring helped make popular many modern, cutting-edge film techniques like pale, long-haired ghosts, grainy film, investigative horror plots, and slow burning atmospheric drama, all around media. The beloved critic Roger Ebert even gave it a positive review and praised its lingering fear. He noted that created unease and didn't purely rely on shock tactics like a lot of other scary horror films. The 2002 remake of The Ring starred a lot of famous actors and got a 72% critic approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. All right, only about 5 seconds for the 5th question in the 3rd round. Hope you write it down, send it in, and get all the points, but I'm not so certain you will. Let's find out. We're going to take a break to score these answers, and we'll be back very soon. Welcome back to Arcade Gadfly. Let's go over the answers from the previous round about the movie The Ring. First question was the protagonist finds a type of film with what three-letter acronym? That's VHS. This movie is a remake of another film from what country? That was Japan. What actor plays the lead character, Rachel Keller? That was Naomi Watts. What was the first name of the director in The Ring? Gore. After the success of The Ring, Hollywood remade several foreign horror films, including what major movie? That was The Grudge. All right, let's fly over to the last round in tonight's game of Arcade Gadfly. If you haven't already, follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at Gadfly City. And check us out at gadflycity.com for a lot of written content and other great stuff. The last round of tonight's game focuses on the movie Hostel. If you haven't seen it, it is quite scary. All right, the first question of the last round is, who served as executive producer and used his influence to help promote the film? 4 points. Who served as executive producer and used his influence to help promote the film? This is a notorious American thriller directed by Eli Roth that centers on three backpackers who fall prey to a sadistic international organization. They are lured to a Slovakian hostel by the promise of fun, but instead tortured and killed for entertainment by wealthy individuals. Not exactly the kind of trip you want to take. This film centers on an organization where wealthy sadists pay high fees to torture and kill foreign tourists, often starting with the victims being processed after being lured to a seemingly normal hostel. Maybe next time they should have checked out the reviews before they booked their trip. About 10 seconds left for the first question in the last round of Arcade Gadfly. Hope you're doing well. And 2-1, that's about it. Next question, the second one and the roundabout Hostel. What city was most of Hostel shot in a round? For 5 points, what city was most of Hostel shot in a round? 60 seconds, 5 points, get to it. This movie was released in 2006, and for a budget of only about $5 million, it brought in about $20 million in only its opening weekend. It went on to gross about $80 million worldwide, and even opened at number 1 in the United States, beating out such classic and well-known films as The Chronicle of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and King Kong. Not bad for a movie with such a topic as this. About 20 seconds left, folks. Stayed at the top of the charts for a long time too, bringing horror to millions and millions of people in the United States and worldwide. About 5 seconds left, folks, for the second question in the final round of Arcade Gadfly. All right, moving on to the third question this round about Hostel. Along with the movie Saw, Hostel helped create a subgenre of horror films called torture horror, or torture what else? For 6 points, along with the movie Saw, Hostel helped create a subgenre of horror films called torture horror, or torture what else? 6 points, folks. The murder website concept is what spurred the idea in the director Eli Roth's brain to make a film such as Hostel. The site claimed to offer people the chance to murder other people for money, especially over in Southeast Asia. Hostel also drew upon the 1970s exploitation cinema, featuring gritty, intense, and shocking storylines and characters and settings. Kind of developed and mastered the slasher trope, and focused on American tourist behavior, which I'm not saying I'm gonna, I agree with this, but bro culture, people looking for X-rated Disneyland. Three, two, one. All right. Fourth question, the fourth round of Arcade Gadfly. This one's all about the movie Hostel. The film's brutal, immersive style has often been compared to what survival horror game? For 7 points, the film's brutal, immersive style has often been compared to what survival horror game? 7.60 seconds. Get to it. The inside of the torture factory shown in Hostel was shot in a wing of a real-life functioning psychiatric hospital. Built in 1910, it had a wing that had been closed for over 30 years. So one wonders if the ghosts were already there before they started shooting and added to the creepy feel and atmosphere. What a unsettling vibe and visual that it created. 20 seconds left. The main characters in this film stayed in room 237, which was a direct nod to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And we think that the two aren't that far away in terms of their scare factor and entertainment value of just watching the thing. All right, folks, that wraps up the fourth question, the fourth round. There's only one question left in this game. Let's try and get some points. For 10 points, what is the real name of the person that plays the protagonist Paxton? 10 points, what's the real name of the person that plays the protagonist Paxton? 10 points, 60 seconds. If you look through all the reviews for the movie Hostel, you'll find critics split all over the map, really. Some praise it for its audacious visual appeal with horror spliced in, while critics often point to its shallow, misogynistic, extremely graphic scenes that get away from the drama of the film. A little under 30 seconds left to get your answers in for the last question, the last round. Despite what critics say, this film has a 60% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes for a lot of reviews. So that's pretty good, and I hope you're doing well too. With only a couple seconds left in the last question, the last round, I hope you had some fun. We're going to take a break now to score up these answers, but we'll be back soon. See how well you did. Take care. All right, folks, let's see how well you did in the last round of tonight's game, which featured the movie Hostel. First question was, who served as the executive producer on the film and used his influence to help promote it? That was the legendary Quentin Tarantino. What city was most of Hostel shot in and around? That was Prague. Along with the movie Saw, Hostel create a subgenre of horror films called torture porn, actually. The film's brutal, immersive style has often been compared to what survival horror game? To Resident Evil 4. And finally, what is the real name of the person that plays the protagonist Paxton. That's Jay Hernandez. And I hope you did well. Hope you got all the points possible. Even if you haven't, even if you haven't, hope it's been fun tonight. This is another episode of Arcade Gadfly, a Gadfly City show. If you haven't already, please follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our website at gadflycity.com. We hope you've had fun. We hope you fly back soon next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for another round of Arcade Gadfly. Thanks. Now fly away.